We get an opportunity to do something special, we always jump on it. We've done it this morning. Roger Jennings was with us this morning. And Roger, of course, a world-class runner. Can I say that?
National class runner. National class.
Okay. Roger coming out of the Phillipsburg system, and he now does flash results.
Yes.
If you've seen that big truck, that I like the way they've got that painted. It must have taken 3 years to paint all the stuff on the truck there, Roger.
I think it's a big sticker.
Yeah. And it's parked between the football field and the middle school here, and that's where all your equipment's in there, right?
Yes.
A lot of it is.
Yeah, it's locked though. So.
Okay, it's locked. Okay, and I had a chance to go through. You were through here one Sunday, and I had a chance to go through and look at all the equipment. The reason why I wanted Roger to come on because he's just on his way back from Eugene, Oregon.
Correct.
Right, and that was the national.
The NCAA championships.
And NCAA, right? So they have that every year, or they kind of.
It has been, yes, but they're tearing down the old stadium. And it's going to be.
I heard that.
We're University of Texas next year.
Oh, really?
Next 2 years,
Okay.
yeah.
I know we came through there one time on the West Coast, and my one son, the oldest, Greg, runs the marathons.
Yeah.
And so he had to stop there
Yeah,
because of the distance, the record they've had there of everything going on. Okay, Roger, let's talk about
Sure.
why you're here. But first, a little bit of your background. What you did in high school and everything, and college.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to get a brag about yourself a little bit now.
Okay.
Okay, Roger?
All right.
Okay, let's go. What about it?
Started off as a very mediocre, couldn't find myself athletically. I
Really?
tried every sport,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to be a distance runner, so I was trying the long jump and the high jump.
Yeah.
And slowly, my talent level pushed me into middle distance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I wanted to compete with John Mason.
Yeah.
And, as being compared to him
Sure.
was probably difficult. So I wanted
Yeah.
to find my own way, but I settled in the exact same events he did.
Okay, so when were you here in Phillipsburg?
Yes.
Okay, when did you remember when you ran here?
Junior high starting in 80, and
Okay.
then high school was, 82 to 85.
So you state track,
State runner-up, never won.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a really good high school, and it really pushed me to, I was a decent high school runner, and was able to go to Emporia State, and then I kind of matured, I think.
Sure, and then
Proved it Emporia.
so where along in and the reason why we wanted you on here, well, several reasons, is because of what you did, and then what you're doing now, which I think is amazing. At what point? And we were talking for one of the. I'm going to talk a little bit about what you used to be at state track.
Yeah.
You'd be up in the press box, and they'd have the finishers, and you'd have pickers, and they'd come off, and you'd argue about time, and of course it was all done with a stopwatch. And how do you do 100th of a second on the top? They always tell me,
it's
how do you do
impossible.
100th of a second on the stop? It's if you have so. They would write it down on the slip of paper. You'd wait and wait and wait, and finally you'd come up on the elevator, and then they'd go to the official gal who would put it, and then I would get it. And sometimes it took a while before
Half
you knew.
hour.
Yeah, oh yeah, really.
Yeah.
And then they started and I don't know. The last 3 or 4 years, I think it's really gotten better. It's progressed.
Yes,
It's gotten
yeah.
better every year, hasn't it? Yeah. So.
It's there's a lot of, especially with track and field, there's so many parts to it. You have all the field events, you have the team score, you have the sprints, you have the distance, you have lapping in the sprint races. So keeping all that sorted out while you're doing your event is very difficult.
Sure.
So I started doing it by hand myself when I was a high school coach.
Really?
And
Okay.
that kind of taught me how to do it. And actually in college, I was doing the same thing. While I was competing, I was also scoring beats.
Really?
So
Okay.
yeah, I started like doing this at a very young age.
Okay, so you knew what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I
then?
think so. So not really a career choice, I guess. But at the time, I just had fun and liked track.
Yeah.
So.
So of course you've seen without the computer and without all this,
Yes.
it's impossible to do it, right?
It was, but it's a good way of learning how it all works. So you have to know how the sport works
Sure.
without all the electronics,
Yeah.
so that what you're doing technology-wise is going to enhance the sport. That you don't want to make technology make it worse. So, and you could do that with technology.
Yeah.
So you want to enhance it.
At state, getting back to state here, the way it used to be, and I always had a lot of track coaches, and we talked about this about with the hand, you watch for the smoke, and then you the accurate.
It's about 2/10
Really?
inaccurate. It's about 2/10 of a second off. I've seen. I went to the NFL Combine, And the scouts there, they would always be off, but they're always consistently off.
Yeah,
and if
it's
you're a
true.
good timer, hand timer, you could be consistently, as long as you're consistent, it's fine.
Sure.
Now, the times aren't going to be really accurate, but the consistency is what's important.
What was your duty? Did you work at the combine? Or
We
you
did
just there?
testing with the photo finish and electronic timing for the 40s and for some of the agility tests. And it was very accurate, but it was also slower than we had no 4.1s, so we had 4.5s.
Yeah.
And
Wow. Why did they pick the 40-yard? Why did they pick it instead of a 60? Why is the 40-yard thing?
I think because 40 would be the max distance you run in a football play. I mean, yeah, you could go for a 100-yard
Sure,
run.
right.
They're really rare. So I
Yeah.
think 40 yards, if you're a wide receiver and you're going down the field, 40
Sure.
is about perfect, and it shows your explosiveness. So we actually do a trap time. So you do a split at 10 yards. And then you do a split at 20 yards.
Wow.
So you're seeing their explosiveness off, when
Wow.
they react.
I didn't realize that. And is it kind of a zoo? Is it
It's
combine
really
kind of-
organized and kind of being from track. It was like nothing I've seen. It was totally silent. It was kind of surreal. It was really strange. It was one of the strangest things I've ever done.
Well, that's great. Okay, so then you graduated, and then did you go right into what you?
Yeah, right. Actually, right into it. My dad was coaching a high school track team in New Hampshire, so I was helping him. I was substitute teaching, and scoring. We lived across the street from Dartmouth College.
Okay.
And so I did a lot of work for Dartmouth with their home track meets, and I'd score them. I'd run like the 1,000 or
Sure,
something,
yeah.
and I was still trying to be a runner. And then I would score their meets,
wow.
and started timing their meets also.
So and then now, where did you come with the idea? Who came with the idea of you put the?
Oh, for the transponder. We use transponders mainly
Transponder,
just for cross country.
Okay, all right.
Track and field, it's all visual.
It is.
It's like horse racing. It's photo finish.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's digital photo finish.
No,
but
and
yeah,
it says you come across
we're still
it.
evaluating the picture. It's still done by hand. It's just done relatively quickly.
Really? Okay, so. The truck you have with you has all your equipment in it. Did you?
Mostly the weight of that truck is going to be displays. So we're doing spectator displays. Each of the.
okay.
So if you're at throwing the
Displays.
javelin, we'll have a display that shows the position of the athlete, the standings in the event, and just go through all of that. So yeah, we have there's 6 events going out once, and they're 3-sided boards, so everybody
yeah.
can see them. So
Wow.
it gets heavy.
So your console, someone's running all this.
There's computers.
The big time TV, really. I mean, kind of.
Yeah, we did like the Prefontaine
Sure.
meet was both on NBC live in the U.S., but also we did international feed that was live to the world. So that was a major event. That was last month in Eugene, and that's the very, very top level of track and field in the world. So it was big meet.
Now, it depends on the time of year where you're overseas, or are you
Yeah,
overseas?
well, I'm going to Colombia
Oh.
end of next month.
You are?
Yeah,
Wow.
Barranquilla. And then I was in Turkmenistan twice last year for events. But usually the international stuff is during hopefully during the off season,
Yeah.
because I have to concentrate on collegiate track and field.
Do you load the
No,
truck up?
a lot of times Finish Links, the company we work with, they'll ship the equipment over for
Okay,
us, and
all
then
right.
we'll set it up and use it on
Okay,
site.
all right, very- how was it this year in Eugene? Or did you have some good times?
Oh, the NCAA meet, even though it rained, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, we had 6 collegiate records in the men's competition, and in the women, they have a really nice schedule. It's men and women are separate, but competing on separate days. It's a really nice. So it's 2-hour windows, so that you don't go there. It's not like the state high school meet where you're there for 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
They're 2-hour windows.
Wow,
So it's
okay.
really nicely done. The women's team race came down to the 4x4, which is what you want.
Yeah.
So USC came from behind and won the 4x4 and won the
Wow.
team title. So
That's
really good meet.
Didn't Kansas State lady won the javelin again or something?
Yep,
They, won it, they call out the javelin.
Always have good javelins, good heptathletes, Kansas State. Always good jumpers, good high jumpers.
Yeah. Do you do indoor at all?
A lot of indoors. We do all the NCAAs.
Oh, okay.
Doing the SEC championships next year. We do the
Really?
ACCs. So we do as many as the major conferences we can do physically. I mean, we have 3 crews.
Sure. They still have the 1 acre mile and
Yeah, it's
mountain-
Milrose Games in the winter, and
Okay,
they still
yeah.
have that. It's not in the garden anymore.
Yeah, I knew they-
So that's kind of down. Mainly, we do collegiate. That's where our
Okay.
emphasis is. We do the U.S. National Championships, which that's what I'm doing next week in Des Moines.
Okay, wow.
And
yeah.
like the Olympic trials. But my main emphasis and our company's main emphasis is collegiate.
What's your favorite favorite thing to do? I mean, if you had your choice to doing what would the Olympics or what?
The Olympics is so hard to get into because it's Swiss timing. It was basically the overlord of all timing. So the Swiss, they're great. It's Rolex, and they have the contract to the Olympic Games. They pay millions of dollars to do the Olympic Games, and I can't pay.
They pay to do it.
They pay to do it.
Oh wow!
Well, it's advertising.
Yeah, sure.
They sell Rolexes.
Yeah, so. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. They do it's pretty big time. We compete against them. The Eugene event we did, we actually competed against them and beat them on that, which was good. So we got the event. It's the one non-Swiss timing event in the Diamond League. So. Okay. But I really like the NCAA meet. I think that's probably my favorite event. Collegiate championships. And I'm happy doing that. So
I grew up with the Wanamaker Mile, the Melrose Games, and all that. I don't, that kind of. I think they still have the Melrose Games.
They still do. But it's more of a high school type meet with a few events scattered in. It's the big indoor meets like what John used to run. So that's that into the pro sport is kind of it's not dying off. There's still lots of great athletes, but it's not like it used to be. But collegiately, I think it's probably as healthy as it's ever been. And obviously, high school you still get great participation.
I lived in Idaho for a couple of years, and John came out and ran. He set the world record in the bank track or something.
Was it Pocatello? Probably.
Pocatello. Bank track, and they have all
really fast track back in the day.
And I was living out there, and I know John Wright. That's kind of neat there. So you do travel, go all around the world then?
We do mainly, hopefully during the off season. Sure. There's a few times where I have to go somewhere during the collegiate year, but this year it's worked out really well. So we're doing we've done events in Korea, and usually it's in either Latin America somewhere or in Asia, because usually the Swiss handle Europe pretty well.
How many people work with you?
We've got 6 full-time employees, so we're not a huge company. But that's my timing company. Finish Links themselves have multiple employees, and they help us out.
Well, I mean, you're really close knit. You never know what everyone else is doing, and
we all live in Mooresville, North Carolina, and they're all in their late 20s, early 30s. They're young guys. And, good crew.
I'm going to take a break here and remind the people, then we'll come back. I'm going to ask Roger some other things. The Sports Talk brought to you by the First National Bank and Trust, proudly supporting Panther Athletics. From the sales floor to your delivery door, come see Jim or Terry at Olive Bovey Furniture and Appliance. They provide gracious living for less. Professional Family Eye Care, see Dr. Juneman for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Weinman Firestone, tire sales and service, backing the youth of Phillips County. Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, and farm insurance needs. Phillips County Health Systems, Olive Bovey Memorial Chapel, Stephen E. Rust, your State Farm agent. Sonic Drive-In, like us on Facebook to see our Sonic deals. Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity. Farmers and Ranchers Outlet, and J&R Highback are sponsors making it possible to do this, like we're doing this morning, talk with Roger Jennings and on what's going on in his life. What's the biggest change you've seen in track and field since you were competing and now?
I think the overall improvement, I was talking about this the other day with my brother-in-law. The level is getting really good. I mean, we're talking mainly collegiate again. That's what I'm doing. But the depth, and when I started doing this job, 404 in the mile would make the NCAA indoor meet. Now it takes 357 to make the indoor meet. So for a while, like when I was running, it was pretty flat. We weren't much faster than John's generation, and there was not much improvement. And actually, you can argue the early 70s was actually higher talent level than what we were in the 80s and early 90s. And now all of a sudden we've had this basically explosion across the board in all events. So looking pretty good actually for it. That's why we're competing at, our teams are competing so high level.
I've talked to John in the past about if you were in Europe and running, you had maybe some stuff under the table, and over here it was all amateur. Yeah. Do you like the idea that you could be professional?
Oh yeah, actually my dad was John's agent, so he was the one actually getting John money back in the day, and it was very gray. The money was, you weren't supposed to get paid, but they had to feed themselves. Sure. So there was money, and it was and it was enough to like almost live on. So yeah, but it's I think it's great. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if you're spending all of this effort, it's still not good. I mean, the
Sure.
top level, beside Usain Bolt or someone like that, they're
Yeah.
not making a whole lot.
Yeah.
So even Olympic champions and stuff, they could probably get a better job
Sure.
not running.
Well, John said he used to get first class airline tickets and cash them
And
in.
cash them
get-
in, yep. Used to be able to sell the tickets,
and,
yes.
and go tourist or whatever,
Yes.
to get a little money to get
Yeah.
around, and of course now able to take things from Nike and all that kind of stuff
Yes.
probably helps. It
But
probably
it's
helps with
tough
that.
to get to that level. It really is. And it's
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of the people putting in that you see on TV or competing, there's a lot of sacrifice going on
Sure.
to they're not NFL players. It's not the
Mm-hmm.
NBA. It's a struggle.
Oh wow! So, back again in your career when you were running, any race stands out, cross country or distance? Now, what was your special? Was you?
I was a miler. I was
Oh,
just like
just a
John.
miler.
The mile 1,500 meters, my favorite event. I got to run in Europe a few times, and I
Mm-hmm.
think those were memorable. I really liked going to a small college in Portland State. That was a
Sure.
perfect. And John loved going to Fort Hays. I think it was a perfect fit for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think my memories of running like our conference meet, and running against Hayes, running against Pittsburgh State. I think those were probably, as I look back, my favorite thing. Also, I think, which always kills me, I think what I miss most of my career is that I never won a state championship.
Yeah.
And you see these kids win state championship. This one thing I'm missing
Yeah.
that I've always wanted.
Yeah.
I think that probably I remember most is not winning a state championship.
I had Jim Ryan on one time, and after he'd run, and in fact, he was a representative, and then at state track, he came up. We talked about things that he remembered down. So, and then they changed. It went to the metric, and now we have the record for the. But they still,
Yeah.
they have the.
Yeah, but he should have the record of the
Yeah.
state. I don't like the conversions or trying to convert or not converting.
Yeah.
Jim Ryan's I still think the best high school miler of all time.
Yeah, and he just he ran when he ran it, and,
Yeah.
But it was funny until Bannister. They said no one ever. They
Yep.
said no one can run a 4-minute mile, and then it just opened the floodgates a little bit, because other people could do it,
But Ryan was so far ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Babe Ruth-like in his ability. I mean, he was a freak. He was 19 years old and running, it was a May 351. So it was. Actually, I had a high school kid. He was from the Netherlands. He ran 352 at Prefontaine.
Wow, yeah.
So yeah, 17 years old.
Who's track coach here at high school when you were here?
Jack Dressler.
I saw Jack
Yep.
Thursday.
Yes.
I told him I was going to talk to you.
Yeah.
He was at Gary Musselman's retirement. I told Jack I was going to be interviewing you.
Yep.
so-
Jim Jacobs was the cross country and my
Yep.
distance coach.
Okay,
And
yeah.
Coach Dressler was the.
He's retired. He's in the eastern part of the state down, doing well. He and Carol. How long you plan on keep doing this?
I've been doing it 27 years, and
Wow.
it's really fun. It never felt like a job. It
Mm-hmm.
actually never started off being a job, but I'm still doing it. And it's one of those things you could probably do for a long, for a long, long time. So I guess something like that. I mean, I would love to do it for 50 years.
Can you have a problem though with something with your electronics or
Oh
anything?
yeah, I mean that's my job as technical director. So my main thing, if
Okay.
I'm not actually physically timing, is I'm in charge of all the cabling, the power, all the production end of it. I love doing that. So the technology end of it, I really enjoy, and so that's my main job. So it's preparing for problems, they're going to happen, and making sure you have redundant systems built in so nothing shuts down. So if you're on live TV and all of a sudden something breaks, you have to
Yeah.
make sure you're still going.
You see that every once in a while. On
Yeah.
the networks, all of a
Yeah,
sudden
you
it's
can't.
not there.
No, you can't. You can't do that. So.
No, and how far ahead of time? Let's say you're doing it like the NCAA. How far ahead of time do you have to get there? You have to set
Normally,
up?
I like a good 3 days of setup. We're doing an event this weekend in Greensboro, so my guys are all out in Greensboro. They're going to fly in not till Monday because their event's Sunday. So we have Tuesday and Wednesday, which is a little tight for this meet in Des Moines. But luckily, it's a non-Olympic, non-world champs year, so it's a little bit less pressure than normal. So we should have two days. We should be fine.
I'd recommend go by and stop and look at that truck.
Big truck, yeah.
It's amazing where all the ideas came and what you've put on there. What was it? Who did that?
The Finish Links Link System developers made the graphic.
Okay, all
They
right.
set up all the.
It's really isn't it?
Yeah, that's all the sports that we do,
You
horse
know,
racing, and
all people, what's that truck doing there?
Yeah.
And it's great. Well, as you say, you go to Columbia there. Now, what is it? Is track bigger? I've often heard this. Track and field is much bigger in Europe than the United States. Is it?
I think the United States is catching up on popularity. Well, it's a very popular high school sport. I think it's probably the most popular high school sport. I know most kids compete, and it's also the only sport where boys and girls can compete together. So it's very popular for that reason alone. I think there's actually a bit of because soccer now is so huge that it's kind of affected track's popularity in Europe, the spectator-wise.
Sure.
And we just got done with 4 days of sellout in Eugene, so we had averaged. I think we had almost 50,000 for 4 days, which for track that's pretty good. We do the Penn relays, and they usually get 40s. So you have 40,000 on the Saturday of Penn relays. That's
wow.
It's not the NFL, but it's pretty good.
That goes back to when I was growing up. Drake relays was always a big thing.
Yep. We do Penn. We do
KU
Penn
relays or something, and you have an opportunity to do that. I'll go back to one more mention here on some of the sponsors, and then we'll kind of wrap it up here. The Sports Talk brought to you by all your friends at the Farmer State Bank in Phillipsburg, where interest begins the moment you enter the door. Interest in you, member FDIC. Mason Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes in the area for over 40 years. Blossoms and Butterflies, making beautiful flowers a part of your life. Sign Solutions, your one-stop sign shop, so much more. Madison Motors, in business for over 70 years. And Rogers Associates, your local trusted choice agency. Getting back to track and field, growing up again, girls didn't compete at all.
in the early days.
In the early, I'm talking about the 40s and 50s.
Correct.
In Garden City, we would have they have a countywide track meet. The schools would come, that was it.
Yep.
And then they finally let a girl. They thought a girl could run an 800,
Yep.
and they finally let them run that, but no more. Then, well, maybe they could run a 16 or a mile, and now they could run the 32 or 2 miles. So that has changed considerably because they didn't. That was maybe chauvinistic that the fact that the girls couldn't compete the same, and now they do.
Correct. Yeah.
And so you see that quite a bit of changes there.
Women didn't run anything longer than 1,500 in the Olympic Games until '84 when they added the marathon. So it's not been that long ago. Obviously, Title IX had a huge effect on women's athletics.
Sure.
And it's had a huge effect on my business because obviously there's a lot of money now in track and field collegiately. So Title IX's been great for us, and it's great for women's competition overall. It's been fantastic.
Okay. You do a lot of indoor things too.
We do all the indoor, basically collegiate. I do a lot of work for University of Arkansas. They have a really nice track there.
Yeah.
And, Texas A&M, we do a lot of work for them in the winter.
Yeah.
So.
Is it easier indoor than
Yeah,
that?
there's
you
no
don't have
weather.
the weather to worry
There's no
about.
weather. It's a smaller track. Everything's in one location. It's much easier to set up and do the cabling and stuff.
Okay, so
It's pretty easy.
So you just get in a truck Monday morning and leave? Or
Yep, driving Monday, get there, and we'll.
to Des Moines?
My guys all arrive, in
Yeah.
Des Moines, right at Drake Stadium, and the guys roll in Monday night, and we'll set up Tuesday.
So do you kind of look? So you want to keep busy because if you keep busy, that means you're going to make money.
Definitely.
So you have to go. So do you kind of keep? Do you have to bid on meets?
Oh yeah, they're all bids. We deal a lot with we have a contract with the NCAA, and it's got to be renewed every. So it's very performance. There's a lot of performance requirements, so you have to make sure. I've been doing the NCAA meet for 26 years now,
Wow.
so you have to keep it.
Doing?
You have to keep the level high.
Okay, so you'll hear something, maybe a meet going on, something like what would Columbia? Is that what kind of meet? Would that
That's
be?
going to be the Caribbean Central American Games. It's
Really?
it's like a mini Olympic Games that the federation puts on, and like we do the Pan American Games. That's another one we do, which is Mexico, Canada, Central America, South America. We've done the South American Games, Asian. We did the World Indoor Asian Games. We were in Turkmenistan. Actually, I was there twice.
Wow.
So Turkmenistan was interesting.
I bet it was.
Yeah, it's not many people go to Turkmenistan, and that was this winter.
Sure. So what and all that you've attended, any performances that really stand out?
Well, my number one favorite thing I ever did is I timed Usain Bolt's first world record.
Wow.
So when he ran 10:69 in New York, and I think it was 2007, and the 100 meters to me is the pinnacle of all events.
Sure,
that is
right,
the
yeah.
king of events. And getting to time a world record in the 100 was,
Wow.
he broke it like 2 weeks later, but getting that first 100-meter world record
yeah.
was my favorite.
It's 100, I think. And you know, we were talking about this. It's straight track this year. It used to be the 400 was a kind of a run. Now it's a dash, and the 800 is almost a dash.
Yeah,
So
800 is fast.
Yeah.
800 is really fast.
Yeah.
It was my favorite event to run, but I was lacking the real top end stuff to race it well. Yeah.
you know, you like the mile.
Well, I was kind of forced. I wanted to run short. I didn't want to run that long, so you want to run as short as possible. So I'd have loved to run the 100. That would have been my goal. And it's my favorite event. The 100 men's 100 meters is my favorite event in track.
It is, and I think that's fastest human in the world.
They're very unique people. They're very the way they have to approach an event where you can't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
Because in the mile you can make a lot of mistakes and
Yeah.
fix them, but the 100 no mistakes.
You got to have a good start, no
Everything,
faults,
yeah.
and everything. For some reason, do you believe Kansas has no false start? You know, I mean, if you have a false start, you're out.
Yeah.
And some you're allowed. The field's allowed one. What's your?
I like that rule. In fact, the IAAF is going to no false start. So right now, what they do is they'll charge the whole field with a false start next when you're out. College track and field, one false start, you're out. I like it. It teaches discipline.
What?
And it slows the times down a little bit. The reactions, because we measure the reaction of athletes, one of the things we do. And it slows the reaction down, but it makes it a fair competition.
Well, and they always said some guys always try to maybe get a little bit of
guess.
thing.
They try to guess.
So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And we can catch that with reaction blocks, but they don't use reaction blocks at every event. So we know when somebody's guessing, but and we'll call it.
I didn't know they had reaction blocks.
Yeah.
You mean
So after the gunfires, there's a certain threshold that you
Really?
cannot. There's a tenth of a second.
are you part of that too?
Yes,
I did not know that
it's
they
very
had
complex. There's a lot of parts involved with doing that, but yeah.
Because when their foot leaves the block is that's when it starts.
The gun goes off, and if they react sooner than 1/10 of a second after the gun goes off, so you can actually start running after the gun goes off and still have a full stop.
I didn't realize they had react. Wow,
that's confusing.
So they really got it down to a science. That the old. Well, it's amazing how it's come along. Again, being the old fellow here, Harrison Dillard, the hurdlers and all that kind of stuff, and there's a whole new thing. How much difference is it? Like you have the 1500 and then the mile. Is there much? And they have a conversion.
I don't like conversions, and as a runner, I ran 3:41 for the 1500, which is equivalent to a sub 4 mile.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that when I ran that, I wouldn't have broken it because I was really hurting, and I actually was basically a middle distance. John was a great distance runner.
Yeah.
I was a middle distance guy. For me, the 1500 to the mile was a move up. I had to think about another 120 meters. So my best mile time is 4 flat 0.2. So I never broke 4.
Yeah.
But I will not convert my 1500 to a mile.
Okay.
I'm not a sub 4 miler.
Well, that's amazing. You did not like running the mile, really?
It was longer than the 1500.
You just.
I didn't want to run that far.
I could run maybe a 10-yard.
The shorter the better.
Okay. And cross country, what did you think about when you were running cross country?
I didn't like cross country. I ran it all 4 years in college. Ran it in Phillipsburg. I played football first. I wanted to play football.
Yeah.
I didn't like cross country. I was good at it.
Yeah,
but I
sure.
didn't like it.
You didn't like it because of the distance?
And because John was so good at it.
Yeah.
I mean, John was arguably the best cross-country runner there was in the late 60s, early 70s, and I didn't have the passion for it. He did.
What did you think about when you were out there running? Everything?
That's exactly it. You had to think of something for an hour.
Yeah.
And it was,
wow.
running for an hour.
Did you ever run a marathon?
No. My wife runs marathons.
Yeah.
And she's tough. She'll go 14-mile runs.
Wow.
And for me, I would say in college, I'd set the world record for the hour run. I'd come back in like 32 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was a wimp.
That's amazing that what you come on and what you did in school, what you like to do, you could do what you wanted to do. I mean,
I was lucky.
And So you'll be in Des Moines this week.
Des
you
Moines,
said?
then I get 3 weeks
Yeah.
off, and then we're going to go to Columbia. So I
Okay.
get basically it's the end of the track season. So we're finishing
Okay.
up. Yeah,
And then, of course, in the wintertime, and they can't do much. Of course, is there quite a bit of indoors?
a lot of
stuff?
indoors. Yeah, college there's big indoor season, so we're busy. Well, we'll go through the whole cross country season. I try to avoid cross
You
country.
do you do cross country?
We do cross country. I
Really?
try to avoid it.
Well, how
Yeah.
do you?
We do transponders, and
Okay,
we put
all right.
chips in. We do all the split points, and we do a lot of the major college conference meets and stuff. But
What's helped you more than anything, you think, in being accurate on your timing? What, the transponders, maybe? Or?
oh no, the photo finish is much more accurate. Much
Okay.
more accurate because you're
Well,
actually
you can see right where.
yeah,
it
and
is.
there's torso, right? In track and field, you measure the torso, and you can't do that with a transponder.
Mm-hmm.
It's horse racing, you do the nose. People, you do the torso.
Sure.
So there's a little bit of interpretation of where the torso starts and
Yeah,
ends. There's a whole science
Sure,
involved
right,
there.
yeah. Yeah, the photo finish you always get me is at the nose,
That's it. It's not the hand. It's the torso.
Yeah, and then right away, what it amazes me, it's bing, bing, bing,
Yep,
bing
and
on the board.
it's
right
pretty
like
easy.
it.
Yeah, it's once you get down and you get the system down, it's
Yeah.
pretty quick.
Wow.
It goes pretty quick.
Well, Roger, I think it's just great to have the opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah, I was
because,
glad to be in town.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here, and go by and look at that truck.
Yeah.
And just stop and read everything on it. It's really neat. So, do you have several trucks though that you?
Yeah, we have 3 trucks. That's
Three
the biggest.
trucks.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
And but so we're doing another event in North Carolina this weekend. So we can do 3 major events in a weekend if we have to.
Oh wow.
We don't want to, but if we
Yeah.
have to, we can.
Okay, so you're just hanging out here in Phillipsburg.
Yep, I'm killing time, avoiding the event in North Carolina.
Roger, thanks
Great-
for coming on.
great see-
And
great seeing
enjoyed
you.
having you back.
You
And then next time you make it, we'll have again. And it's amazing you mentioned the Bolts World
Yeah,
Record.
that was
has
my
to be. Are the track stars, the professionals, or so to speak, are they hard to get along with? Or
No, not. I mean, it's because I've known most of them when they were in college. I mean, for the
okay.
most part, I'm an official, right?
Sure.
So there's a separation you want to always keep.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, there's some of them I've timed or I've seen so long, especially kids that from the SEC or the ACC
Yeah.
that I've seen, forever. And yeah, I really seeing them as pros and doing well, and it's pretty neat.
I'll ask one more question here, and this doesn't have to do with the track, maybe a little bit, but it's more of basketball and thing. The NCAA and the agents and all that kind of. Do you have any opinion on that?
I do. I think the athletes are being taken advantage of. I think there
Well, I
should.
do
be.
too, yeah.
I think they're providing so much money, and there's so much money being made
Mm-hmm.
that I think we're going to have to figure out a way of how you're going to do it. I don't know. It's so complex. I mean, how do you pay track athletes the same as basketball? Right.
Sure.
I mean, the basketball kids are all pretty profitable. And football teams, you're looking at how much money they pull in. So I think eventually they're going to have to figure out something. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Because these athletes are making a lot of money for
lot of
the
money.
conferences and the schools.
It's a
and
lot of
stuff.
money.
And they kind of have to get the and then something does something. You get a car and drive a car.
But if you see, I mean, they get treated wonderfully. You go to Kansas State and see other football players are treated. It's wonderful.
Sure.
The cafeterias, it's like nothing. It's unbelievable. But it's still there's still a lot of money out there.
and your mother gets a car to use and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
the
I like
agent
that.
gets your mother a car.
They're trying to limit. I think if you start getting the kids money, getting paid for the work they're doing, I think you're going to limit a lot layer of that shady
Sure.
stuff that goes
Yeah.
behind that.
Right. I wish, this is my own personal opinion. I wish they'd make a kid, particularly basketball, one and out. I don't like the one and out thing. I
Yeah.
wish they at least have. But it's easy for me to say that. But if the guy's dangling $10 million in front of you to
And
quit,
the argument, college is there to help you get a career.
Mm-hmm.
And if that kid's ready for his career after 1 year, as long as it's a good decision.
Sure.
If it's a good, the top female hurler in the world right now is a freshman at University of Kentucky.
Okay.
She's going pro next year. She's so much better than everybody else. It's like a totally good decision. I mean, what's she going to do? Be the world's best hurler again her sophomore year in college?
Sure, yeah.
So she can make money. She should make
Sure.
money.
Yeah, and-
Finish up in school, but you're only 21. So.
yeah, and then dangle that money in front of you.
I think I don't fault people for doing that.
Okay, all right. Very good. Well, again, have a good
Oh,
trip.
you bet, Dad.
Okay, and
Great.
thanks a lot. I appreciate
bet.
that. John said you were going to be through here, and,
Yeah.
and you came through real quick one time, and I didn't.
Yeah, the other way,
earlier
coming
this year-
out to Oregon, I was going
Yeah.
through quick, but I
Yeah,
had more
so
time.
He
here.
said you're coming back. I said jumped on that chance.
Yes.
So, okay, you have a good trip, and keep doing it.
You bet.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Roger Jennings with us this morning on the special edition of the Sports Talk. Never know where we're going to be on a Saturday morning. Last week we were at the swimming meet, and who knows, maybe I'll be in Des Moines. No, I don't think we'll make it there.
Remote Des Moines.
Okay, we'll see you Thursday morning on the Tadpole. And again, we appreciate Roger coming in and talking with us about his experiences in world-class track and field.